Hello everyone, I just wanted to make this little video here. I've let everything kind of simmer down from the championship weekend, which was last weekend. Let everything kind of calm down. We're heading into the off season, and now I feel like I don't want to sound like privileged or anything, but I think it's my time now to insert my opinions. I think it's the right time. I wanted to make sure everything just calms down. Get ahead in the off season, enjoy your time off as NASCAR fans. But now we can talk a little bit. And there are a lot of topics that I'm going to address in multiple videos. But in this video, as you can tell by the title, it is pretty self-explanatory. What does the future of NASCAR actually look like? Pretty much an impossible question to answer, but I'm going to try and figure out some things and just throw around some ideas. I think the best way to do a video like this is just to have a conversation. So comment down below. Let me know what you think the future looks like. What do you want the future to look like? What do you expect the future to look like? And this covers many different topics, from point standings to formats to everything else that can go on in the sport, sponsorship, the business side, the competition side, driver side. What is it going to look like? So let's start the conversation. This is going to be mainly an opinionated video, not a lot of like I got spew out facts here and there, like, oh, and the track deal's ending in 2021. A lot of you guys know that. That's not what this video is going to be talking about. I'm not going to be spewing facts or trying to be a journalist out here. Just literally going to be just my opinion as a fan, what I kind of think the future looks like and what I hope the future would look like. And let's start off with one clear and obvious thing in my mind, but for some reason we have to talk about it. And that's because with the social media age, there's a lot of overreactions or jumping to conclusions. I can't believe I have to say this. NASCAR's not dying. Yeah, you heard it. It's not going to die. It's not going to literally self-combust and go into bankruptcy, and then you won't see cars on the track and the TV deals just explode to billions. That's not happening. I don't even have to explain myself here. Still going to be millions of dollars in the sport. Millions of people still watch. Still makes money. Still a lot of business partners involved. For anyone saying it's dying, it's not dying. Okay, let's move on from there. Now to the real talking points that I really want to talk about. The main year that really looks like what the future of NASCAR is going to be. Let's forget about next year for now. We'll touch on that in a second because there's one new thing coming next year. But 2020, that's really where NASCAR is looking at making some changes, especially 2021 when the 5-year track agreement with the tracks kind of comes down. Now, there have been rumors out there that NASCAR are trying to buy ISC, which is International Speedway Corporation. And then after that, they might even go after Speedway Motorsports, which would be a real shock move there if they could possibly own SMI and ISC. That would be very, very interesting. I'm not a business expert by any chance, but this can be looked at as one of two ways. You know, you gather up as many assets as possible for a possible sale, or you buy the two ISC and SMI, and you really have full control of your schedule. So this is something that a lot of fans should really look at for the future. What happens there? Does NASCAR end up buying ISC? Does NASCAR end up then going after SMI? This is going to be something very, very interesting to watch. SMI I think is unlikely. I don't know if that would ever happen, but ISC has been rumored in the past, couple of weeks. This is really just so NASCAR has complete control over their assets, over the schedule, over a lot of things that they basically have control of. Right now, you have ISC and SMI. NASCAR doesn't have full control. They have to work with a lot of different people, a lot of different stakeholders, and that gets really, complicated when it comes to business. So what's on the table for the future of NASCAR? We know that the attendance is dwindling. We know that the ratings are continue to dwindle. We don't know where that's going to bottom out. Now, you can make the ratings and the attendance due to so many factors like Junior and Gordon and Stewart and Kenseth and Edwards and all these guys that are retiring. And then the new crop of drivers, or the best drivers now, are guys like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Truex, Logano. No, those four are not really the most popular names. And when I mean popular, yes, Kyle Busch is a popular guy, but not for the right reasons. A lot of people just dislike Kyle Busch, and they don't really hate him enough to watch him lose. They just don't like him, so they don't watch. That's a different thing. That's a different kind of hate, or a different kind of dislike. So he's not, the guy that NASCAR can build around, and neither is Harvick, and neither is Truex, and neither is Logano. None of those guys have that big of a following, and those are all stars of the sport. Those guys that are winning the races, winning the championships, and fans are just like, that's not my guy. I've experienced this too, with Jeff Gordon. When Jeff Gordon left in 2015, I did not watch a lot of NASCAR in 2016. I remember it. It was the one year I missed over half of the races. I did not watch, I'm pretty sure, from March to June before I started this YouTube channel. And then I started the YouTube channel and I was like, all right, I'm going to start doing NASCAR stuff. Let me get back into it. I was only gone for a few months, so I still knew everything about the sport because I watched it my entire life. But, you know, that when Gordon left, I left. And so when Junior left and when, you know, Gordon left along with me, a lot of other people left. And when you try to find a new driver, you want to see like who's the best right now. If those guys are not those peak names like a Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel, those guys are peak names. Verstappen's getting in there as well in Formula One. You know, Truex, Kyle Busch, Harvick, those guys are not, you know, the top quality names. And that's just a fact. That's how it is. Now, there are a few reasons for that. You know, drivers are so tied to sponsorships. They have to be so corporate friendly and be very, very, I don't want to say politically correct, but like, you know, they just have to be very reserved, kind of. They can't really express their opinions or just express themselves as much as they want to because you don't want to piss your sponsors off. It's that simple. So one big part of the future of NASCAR, what does it look like, is what drivers will be the best, and do they have like a high enough or a large enough fan base or large enough personality to really carry what the sport needs. And when I mean personality, I'm talking fights, I'm talking rivalries, I'm talking that, you know, like the normal, the son of a legend, which is obviously Chase Elliott. Just like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Chase Elliott can be that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and have that the most popular driver and have a huge fan base, and the people watch for Chase Elliott. That's what a lot of fans do. The drivers have a part to play in this, and NASCAR is to help them out by promoting these drivers. The drivers have to promote themselves, and then hopefully we can have just a lot more, I would say, diversity and personality and rivalries and expressions in the garage area on the racetrack. And that is something that hopefully the future of NASCAR looks like. And that the expressions on the racetrack leads to the actual product on track. Now, another part where I see that fans have left, you know, this is the hardcore section, the diehard NASCAR fan, is what is happening on the track. The cars are too aero dependent. I've talked about the cars a lot. I'm not going to really go into it that much, but the cars are too aero dependent. The drivers can't race each other, which is why fans are clamoring for more short tracks. And now the short tracks have not brought like a boost in ratings or a boost in attendance, but they're better races overall, and nothing's going to happen right away. For NASCAR, they need years of a stretch of short tracks, good racing, and a good product on track. So what NASCAR has done for this is, we're going to talk about 2019 now, is the new aero package. We have no idea how this is going to play out. I'm going to stop using my hands all the time. But we have no idea how this is going to play out. And I'm not going to be the optimistic guy here. I don't think it's going to play out well. But hopefully there's entertainment. Hopefully it brings in a crowd that sees close racing, I would say. For the hardcore fans, I don't know if I think a lot of fans might leave because they won't be excited with what they see. But it's an experiment, and it's something in the short term. It's like if you took a loan out of a bank. You know you're going to pay it back. You know that it's only a short-term thing. And you just need that money now. You just need that exposure now. That's basically what this package is. You just want entertainment, exposure, closer racing until they can find a better race car, which is pretty far ways away, 2022, 2023, 2024, whenever that might be. But that is something just about the cars. The real big shakeup that's probably going to come for the future of NASCAR is the schedule. And how do fans want to be a part of that? I think something that is not talked about enough, actually, is the length of schedule and how it encompasses like the length of the year. I personally am a big fan of a shorter schedule. I would personally like to see 10 less races, like cut the schedule down to 25 or 26 races. Do I think that'll happen? No. Is it likely, or is it possible to happen with a possible buy of ISC and SMI? Makes the chances higher because NASCAR then controls. But I don't think that would ever happen. I don't know if they would ever shorten the schedule because of the loss of money. My whole big belief on what NASCAR should look like in the future is just to downsize a little bit. I'd like a shorter schedule. I would even like shorter races. I would prefer maybe like a 2-hour race. I think sometimes a 3-hour race with the product that is on track right now, the middle of the race can be exceptionally boring. And that's when a lot of fans can turn the TV off, and that's why they don't watch. A 2-hour race just seems really nice. Think about a basketball game. A basketball game is about 2.5 hours. Football games are a lot longer, but football is the most popular sport in America. A lot of action always going on. So for the NFL, 3 hours, and for college football, 3.5 hours. Soccer, Premier League soccer, MLS, that's all 2-hour games. So this is something that I would like to see NASCAR experiment with. Formula One they have a 2-hour time limit in most of their races. go below 2 hours. But you get all that action that you want and you kind of need in that time gap. When you start carrying over, especially with what the product is on track right now, I don't think it really helps that the races are long. Now, NASCAR used to be all about endurance, and NASCAR used to be all about, it's a survival race and stuff like that. But the technology and everything has changed, and you have to adapt to that. You have to understand that, yes, drivers still grind it out for hours in the car, and there's still hot temperatures, and they work out a lot. But it's not as much of a grind as it used to be back in the good old days. Just like how everything is not as much of a grind. Our lives as itself is not as much of a grind. Everything comes a little bit easier because we have everything at our hands, and everything's quicker. So I think it would be a good idea to adapt to that and make NASCAR quicker. And it's funny saying that because they're bringing the horsepower down in 2019 and making the cars slower for trying to get better racing purposes. But if just the time of the race was a little bit quicker and everything moved a little bit faster and there was more urgency to it, it would fit the society of today, which is we just consume things very quickly. That's something I'm a big believer on, and I really actually would love to see experimented on. It would be a huge risk, and I think a lot of you guys probably don't agree with me on that. That's kind of my, jumping off the little cliff thing and being on the fence there. But I'm a big believer that if we had shorter races with a shorter schedule, it could work. But the schedule itself is the real big talking point, and so the schedule, what will it look like? I'm almost positive it's going to have more short tracks whenever this does happen. 2020 doesn't look like the year they can bring all that in. 2021 looks like the year they can bring all that in. Again, waiting on the SMI and ISC news, whether NASCAR owns that, but really does look like that's the year where they're going to shake up the schedule. And that comes with, what do the playoffs look like? Will the season finale change? Will it go from Homestead to a short track? That'll be very interesting to have a one-race shootout at short track. Will the playoff format change if they shorten the schedule? Do you want a 16-race regular season and then a 10-race playoff with only 26 races in the season? Or would you want to go back to a season-long points format because if you shorten the schedule, you have a better chance of having a closer championship battle with a shorter schedule? All this is things that you have to think about as a fan. What do you want? And then pitch that, and maybe hopefully NASCAR listens. I don't know. I bet this is all on the table for them. But, just for me, and you talking with you guys, would a season-long points format work with a shorter schedule? If we don't go with the shorter schedule, what's the perfect points format to go with where it pleases everyone? Because you have a lot of people right now, and this is really the atmosphere, the vibe of NASCAR right now, that people complain a lot. A lot of fans complain about things. Drivers complain to NASCAR. NASCAR complains to the teams about cheating. Fans complain to NASCAR about the product on track and inspection, and then owners complain, and everyone's complaining. What do we all want? What do we all want to see? And when it comes to the points format for that, what can bring the best of all the worlds? There are a lot of fans, hardcore fans, that solely want the season-long points format. Then there are a lot of fans that are happy with the chase format. Then there are a lot of fans that are happy with the shootout format that we have now, the playoff format of elimination style, and then a one-race shootout. And then it just becomes like a three-way war of how everyone wants to deal with things. Like, I like this format, no, I like this format. So how can we blend all those together? That's something that has to be talked about in the future for NASCAR, even though they've gone through so many changes, so many points changes over the last few years. They might have to change it one more time to try to combine the best of all the worlds. And so it can make as many people happy as possible, along with the drivers, along with owners, along with TV broadcasters, along with sponsors, so everyone can see that, all right, now we have a really good points format. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video because I think it needs to have its whole other video without making this thing like 30 minutes long, because that'd be way too long. So again, what does the future of NASCAR look like? We've talked about the drivers, we've talked about the schedule, we've talked about, the points a little bit, we've talked about the cars themselves, we've talked about the TV deal. Everyone knows it's going to 2024. It's bringing in a lot of money until then. So what do you guys as fans, what do you see the future of NASCAR looking like? What do you want it to look like with all these different encompassing areas? A lot of it matters too. Let me know what you think. I know this video probably seemed a little bit messy, but again, it's just the conversation. That's all I really want to have. I just want to have a conversation with you guys, read all the comments, reply to some of them, and share the video around, and let's just talk. There's no reason to argue. It's just nice to have a nice little debate. I know from the championship race, a lot of people were upset, and there were a lot of negativity around it. And a lot of people keep bringing up the ratings and stuff. I'm really sick of the ratings. I'm tired of that. I'm just like, hey, let's see what can we do to bring people back? Instead of just saying, hey, ratings are down. It's like, okay, we know that. The ratings have been down all season. We can't just keep doing or talking about the same thing over and over and keep complaining about it. What do you want to see change? That's what I want to ask you guys. What do you want to see change? What do you think will help? And so just let me know all about that. I'd really appreciate that. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'll come out with another more just conversation videos about different parts of the season or NASCAR itself. And we could just have a nice little talk. I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Enjoy the off season, and peace out.